Good morning, Kingdom. Wow, did anybody see the Nintendo Direct yesterday? It's the first good one that we've had in a while, in my opinion. In my opinion, no, it was really exciting. I mean, it doesn't hurt that they did announce my favorite franchise at the end, because we do love Fire Emblem in this house. I don't know if you guys know that about me, that I've made a little bit of content about this game in the past 3 to 4 years. I wanted us to walk through the trailer today. I have taken a selection of screenshots for us to discuss. At the end, we're going to do some rapid fire thoughts on the other things announced during the direct. This is the meat and potatoes, right? This was the most exciting thing for me. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. Do I love the name? No, but I'm not in charge, I guess. We'll see how the Fortune's Weave plays out in the actual narrative itself. Without further ado, let's talk about it. It opens up with this shot of a large port city. It looks like an island. It's a little bit hard to tell, but all of this stuff in the background definitely looks like further ocean. I initially thought that this was the entire continent of Fodlan, but that seems unlikely. Or if it is, like, this is a really odd representation of it. It looks like we're on a separate island away from Fodlan, and there's lots of bridges. Like, we have these little ones that I'm assuming are for horses and traveling by foot. And then these large guys could be an aqueduct, could be railways for trains. I'm curious about this ocean looking arena at the bottom, but the structure of this city looks like a stylized ancient Athens. So it seems like they're going to be leaning into Greek or Mediterranean inspiration for this one. Next, we have Colosseum exterior. I'm curious about this stuff on the hill, like this little lighthouse. At first, I thought this stuff on the top of the hill was Garrick Mach, but it's seeming a little bit more like the Parthenon. No specific notes on the Colosseum interior. It reminds me of Arena Ferox, and I do love that. We have these two characters. We don't see them anywhere else in the trailer. Presumably, they're of higher status because they're watching from a private box. It's hard to tell if he's a royal or a warrior. It's seeming like people of high status are still participating in these fights, and he has a small, probably ornamental dagger on his hip. She looks like she could be a princess or a high priestess. It's hard to gauge to what extent her headpieces are stylized, but this band in the back before the ponytail looks like a tiara. They could be enemies, they could be allies. It's a little bit tricky to tell because of the red and blue hair. Like, blue and blue hair are generally protagonist symbols. By contrast, a lot of bad guys in the series have red hair and enemy units are red. All I have is a picture. I'm extrapolating a lot. Hard to tell who they are at this point. This is the divine dragon sovereign that we hear from at the end of the trailer. He is hosting the heroic games, and whoever wins in the finals will get their wish granted. Since we're clearly in the Fodlan verse, it's interesting to me that he doesn't look like the Nabateans. His greenish blonde hair is a little bit similar, but his eye color is really throwing it off for me. He's a dragon, but a different type. It'll be interesting to see how they blend this tournament arc structure with the character's personal motivations. We get quick glimpses of our main four while the Sovereign is speaking. So Kai on the top left, clumsy, he's just fallen over. Theodora is our Queen of War. She's being carried through towards the Colosseum. Dietrich has a hero's relic. This is clearly a crest stone, but so far there's no indications as to how it can connect to Three Houses. And then Lita is the performer on the bottom right. Here we have Kai and his companion. We'll see her again in a couple slides. She's a magic unit. I think it's a safe assumption that Kai is the player character that we will take control of throughout the story. We get 2 shots of him running in the overworld, and he says he has to win the games to save his father's life. Okay, now we have the combat. To be honest, I didn't realize that this was a Fire Emblem announcement until I saw this screen, and then it was undeniable for me. So we can see that Kai is a new class. He's a flying Orneus rider. I believe this little icon just means he's mounted. Also in this shot, we can see Dietrich over here, and this is Kai's companion. I don't know the other units here. We'll touch on this lady in a second. Gauntlets are confirmed to return as well. I'm not noticing a ton of differences in the stat screen. It seems like a lot of general features from Three Houses are making a comeback. We'll be able to dismount. I'm assuming Convoy has been replaced with storage. I am curious about this small bird icon in the top left. Maybe that's to indicate that he's on his mount. We can see that combat arts are back. This circle next to his level is the blaze arts meter. When it's full, you can use a certain amount of the gauge to use blaze arts, but we'll come back to them in a second. The only note I have on this screen is that there's a stat on the bottom here called curse. It's related to blaze arts. You can tell because it uses the same icon. The Thundercloud Knight doesn't have a complete portrait, so the game is looking pretty good in its current state, but they're obviously still in a bit of an earlier build. Oh, I need to move myself. I'll come up here. On the bottom, we can also see relevant skills that are going to affect the combat. Very important to note that Kai has a crest. Albin, Oban, I think that's how they pronounce it in the game, right? Oban. And this was a crest that only Anna used as a DLC character. So it's interesting to see it come back in this capacity. Okay, so this is the critical hit. Not pictured in the image, but the charioteer does have a face. So the 3D modeling is further in development than the 2D art. The animations look pretty good. The aesthetic of this game does remind me of Metaphor ReFantazio, which is the greatest game ever made, so good for them. They should be wanting to emulate that. We should also pay attention to each character's coat of arms. Kai's looks like a Greco-Roman ship sail. We get a few shots of Theodora absolutely cleaning up. She's extremely strong. She's seeking unyielding strength to conquer her enemies and uphold her faith. She's the Edelgard. Okay, so we can see that she's a noble. It's interesting that there's a star on her class portrait, which is a generic 2D sprite, by the way. It doesn't look like her. But then they also use the star again as a subscript next to the class. I don't know why it's shown twice unless it indicates different things. That's probably class mastery. We can see her unique weapon, Maharu's spear, and then underneath it's the disturbing strike gambit. We can also see that her character cursor, her little Sims diamond above her head, has a small sword next to it. We can see that the other party members don't have this. So battalions are confirmed to come back, but there's no other on-screen indication besides this little sword icon here if battalion health is going to work the same way. This is the gambit. Oh my god, the screenshot got compressed in a really sinister way. You can't tell from this image that I've provided, but her coat of arms is clearly Egyptian inspired. Dietrich is on a boat. This is one of many shots of him intimidating someone with his scary glowing sword. He's the Dimitri. I love that his armor is very Effie Fate's Conquest coded. He says he has to confront something with this blade. Okay, so here we get our first example of blaze arts, which use HP to activate special abilities. Moving shadow is a warp, so the LTC divas will be creaming their pants for this one, although he can't move after warping, so maybe not. Oh, this is a hard word for me. His weapon is called Answerer. No indication as to how he got this relic. He's the only character in the trailer who has one, as far as I could see. There's a weather indicator on the bottom left. He's listed as a Myrmidon. I'm curious as to whether or not we're going to see our leads get unique classes. I'm assuming they will based on plot milestones, but hard to gauge. Crazy that he's level 37 though. His coat of arms is a gothic armored horse, a bit more European, and he activates a skill here called Murderous Intent. I'm assuming that increases his crit rate. Here's a shot of Lita surviving a fire or some sort of other tragedy. There's a man that she's desperate to take revenge on. Killing him isn't enough. She's a performer. I'm very compelled by this Azura Claude crossover. She's in the Hunter class, which wields bows based on this icon. Since so many features are coming back, there's a strong chance that most classes being able to use most weapons will also return. What's different is that her blaze art gauge is full. This looks like it's probably Kai and his companion over here. I'd be shocked if they were showing us late game content. Like, this is all probably in the first couple chapters. So her gauge is full, it's glowing orange, and then we have a new turn action called Manage Gauge. Maybe having a full gauge is bad. We saw that it's associated with a stat called Curse. The pro is that you get access to blaze arts, but there could be some con for having this gauge built up for too long. So she's more of a bard type. She has 5 different songs here. The one we see is the Song of Beasts, which summons a demonic beast, a frequent enemy that we face in 3 houses. If we compare Dietrich to Lita, Moving Shadow for him just has an HP cost, and it just says Blaze +1 down here. But back to Lita, it says Blaze +4. There's still an HP cost, but a certain amount of of the gauges required. So she's like Claude, but also like Azura, but also like Happy from Three Houses. I'm very curious to see how they handle her. Her coat of arms is red and floral. This is just a nice action shot. Kai and his companions are surrounded by enemies. The opponents are all in green, so I'm gonna assume that we're still in the first fight against the Thundercloud people. He activates what looks like a crest to protect her, but the design is really different than in Three Houses. If we know he has the crest of Oban, it's interesting that they chose to not use that shape here. This could be a different ability, and that's why he's the main character and not anybody else. Now we get a bunch of quick glimpses of fights. I'm assuming that they're important since they have fully animated cutscenes. There are these two strong guys. This one on the left bears some resemblance to Theodora. Dietrich is threatening this guy with his big scary sword. Perhaps he's a thief trying to steal from the boat as they dock. Here he is fighting against a woman with a literal gun. She looks like one of the gauntlet fighters that we saw in the very first battle screen cap. I'm just so shocked that she has a gun. Again, it's so hard for me to tell when this takes place in the Fodlan timeline. It's either way, way, way before or way, way, way after. Like there's no middle. Or maybe this takes place on a totally separate continent. And no, that's not possible either. I don't know. Whoever this is, diva, incredible hairstyle with the rubies at the bottom of the braids. I think it's cool that they're playing with different hair textures and styles, but it's odd that everyone with a darker skin tone is grayed out. It's just odd to me that so many of these characters are taupe. It would be nice if they made the skin tones look a little bit more human. Like this guy that Lita is fighting has a little bit more of a human tone to him. She's pretty furious, so this could be the guy that she wants revenge on. Theodora is yelling at this man on the throne. He is somehow an obstacle to her. We get our last quick shots of the leads. I'm assuming this moment with Kai getting picked up is what happens right after he falls in his first appearance in the trailer. Dietrich is haunted man with magic sword. Lita dances. Theodora is carried through the city on her way to the tournament. These characters seem to have really different things going on. Like Theodora seems to be fully fighting a separate war in her country. I'm assuming they're all from different places and they've congregated on this island. But the other three characters seem to have much more personal stakes that don't radiate out for like a socio-political impact based purely on their motivations for participating in the tournament. Theodora definitely seems to have the most status. Okay, this is the gag. We get a Byleth POV looking at a grown-up Sothis in the basement of Garrick Mach, or maybe this is Xanadu before it fell. Again, I don't know if we're before or after. Without this pretty direct connection, I would believe that this game is like what Awakening is to Shadow Dragon. In the same universe, some nods or gestures to being a prequel slash sequel, but maybe not tangible plot impacts. I feel like the Three Houses connections will be pretty limited, but milking your most popular title is a great way to drum up hype. We have a loose 2026 release date. This likely means late 2026, because if it was in Q1, they would have just given us a date because it's already September. It could come out in the summer as well, but I'm assuming a little bit later in the year. But wow, what a crazy announcement. I appreciate that we got a full trailer. 2026 is going to be a very algorithmically friendly year for the channel because you guys love it when I talk about Fire Emblem. It's only my favorite game. Okay, so while Sothis is up and giving us the evil eye, we're going to do a quick run through of the other announcements. Super Mario Galaxy movie. I could take it or leave it. I thought the Mario movie was pretty. Shapes and colors, great shapes and colors. Of course, we have a tie-in Galaxy 1 and 2 ports for the Switch. As a Mario All-Stars owner, I will not be purchasing this. I appreciate that they're selling Galaxy 2 separately, and I'm sure they did it that way on purpose because some people already own Galaxy for the Switch and they don't need two copies of the same game. I might pick that up separate digitally. I really like the Rosalina amiibo. That's iconic. The slew of games that are getting immediate paid DLC is disgusting to me. Like the Mario Wonder DLC is probably not paid, but you have to buy the Switch 2 edition to get it. So you're paying in the sense that you have to buy that title fresh. I hate that. DK Bonanza's DLC is $30 Canadian. And the game literally just came out for $110 physical retail. It's terrible. It's terrible. Same with Pokemon Legends ZA. I'm so impressed by the trailer. I love the new mega designs. I think that game is going to run so incredibly well on the Switch too. I'm so looking forward to playing it because I think the Legends format is superior to the main games. I find it really satisfying. But $40 for Mega Raichu X and Y, we need to see rioting in the streets. Like that's a crazy price point for a game that's already $100. Like I want to play Pokemon, but I don't know if I want to play Pokemon that badly. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book loved the trailer. Loved the trailer. That game looks so good. I know it's going to be $1 million for 6 hours of content, but it looks incredible. Shout out to Tomodachi Life. I will not be buying that, but I know she's popular and a lot of people are looking forward to it. For Hades 2, I've been following that game since early access last year. I'm very thrilled for a full release date at the end of the month. Will I be able to play it? Probably not, because I'm going to be in the trenches with school very soon. But I'm excited for them because the early access content is really, really good. Kirby Air Riders, the amiibos are nice. Hyrule Warriors, Age of Imprisonment. I'm so grateful for the November 6th release date. I'm so excited for the Zelda game, for the Zelda-centric action game. I'm really looking forward to it. The Dragon Quest VII trailer was so stunning that I thought it was a new game. Like, I thought we were getting Dragon Quest 13 or 12. I don't know what number they're on. They're totally remaking it from the ground up, I guess. It looks so good. The Virtual Boy, stupid. So stupid. Did anybody move? Like, that's crazy. Oh, I guess I can make myself bigger. I'm sitting right here. Sitting right here next to Mummy. Loved Samus on the motorbike for Metroid 4, but Nintendo's pricing me out already, so I don't anticipate picking this one up. Excited for the people who do. Pokemon Pokopia looks cute. I think it'll be really nice for the people who want an Animal Crossing fix. I don't trust the Pokemon company. I think they make low effort games sometimes. I appreciate that they're trying something different for a softer, cozier title. It's piqued my interest, but I wouldn't be shocked if the reviews came out and people were like, it's kind of mid. Danganronpa 2x2 literally put me in the fucking grave. I've soured on Kodaka so crazy after playing the 100 line. I don't want this. I actually don't. Especially because Danganronpa 2 is the best one. And whatever other content they do is not going to be as good as the main thing because the game is so good on its own. I'm so confused. And then Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. She is the diva. I don't need to elaborate. Oh my god, I have to edit this so fast. Bye. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Is there a game from the direct that I didn't talk about? Get in the chat, diva. Get in the comments. I want to hear from you. See you later.